Bach here from Bach Performance and the Look Great Naked podcast. Today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you step by step through a push day workout. My current training split is what we call a push, pull, lower training split. Then we have what's called a gap workout on the back side. And so essentially, when do we hit push muscles, chest, shoulders, triceps, pull, that's all posterior chain, lower body, guess what, lower body. And then that gap workout is, for right now, we're doing a little bit more direct arm work because why the hell not? It is summertime. But today is going to be the push emphasis, and I want to tell you what we're doing specifically so you can understand in the scope of the bigger program itself. Now, in conjunction with this push, pull, lower, plus a gap workout training split, I'm actually running a little bit right now, which is something I don't typically do. So my lower body training is dialed back. In my upper body work, I want to make sure I'm preserving as much strength as I can, because when lower body, when endurance work tends to increase, strength and power are the first things that go down. So what are we doing today? First, I'm going to take you through our dynamic warm-up. It's going to be a set of 3 different exercises. First, we're going to have a sideline windmill used to open up thoracic mobility through our shoulders. One of the primary reasons that people run into shoulder injuries is because they have poor mobility and stability directly through their thoracic spine. When their shoulders can't get into optimal position, joint stress tends to take over. Voila, injuries are next. The second exercise is going to be a half kneeling kettlebell bottoms up press. Bottoms up meaning it's going to be upside down. So it's going to be require a lot more stability all the way through my entire upper body, and core is going to be engaged at the same time. Then the third exercise within that is going to be a plyometric push-up. We do this to fire up the central nervous system. I'm going to do it directly on the ground, but depending on your strength levels, you can do this directly with your hands elevated on a bench or on a box. Let's check it out.
Before you go any further, it's 100% crucial that you watch the rest of this video and hit subscribe now.
All right, now in the sideline windmill, all you need is a piece of, well, I guess, a foam roller. So all I'm going to do here, I'm going to throw my leg over the side, and then we're going to work at actively improving the range of motion directly through the shoulder. Knee goes over the top, bottom arm, opposite arm, big circles. As I'm doing this, I'm rotating my hand towards the ground. On the bottoms up overhead press, one thing that you're going to see here is the amount of shaking going on. So what I want you to do while you're watching this video right now, make a fist as hard as you can. Notice you're feeling tension, not just here, not just in your forearm, but you're feeling it in your lat and your shoulder. So we call this an irradiation effect. When you contract the muscle as hard as you can, it's going to start recruiting other muscles directly around that muscle itself. So in this case, a bottoms-up press can really activate a lot of stabilizers to make your shoulders more stable as you're going directly through the exercise. This makes it an incredibly good priming exercise before any pressing work. Now, the bottoms-up half-kneeling press is a great exercise, especially when we have that bottoms-up hand position. A couple important cues. First, we want to make sure we're flexing the glute on the down leg right here and keeping our chest tall with our core engaged. Very simple. And when I'm holding the kettlebell, I'm going to squeeze it as hard as I can, press directly up. Now, one thing that's important to know, when I do that plyometric push-up, the goal here is to not do them as fast as I can, it's to do each rep explosively. So it's not racing through to get 5 reps done as quickly as possible. It's maximum explosive intent, just like this. Now, when I'm doing this plyometric push-up, what you're going to notice, my hands aren't directly in front of me. A lot of times you see people do push-ups, even explosive push-ups, with their hands out in all these different weird angles. What we want is we want to be in a joint stacked position. This means your hands should be directly underneath your wrist, underneath your elbow, underneath your shoulder, like you're throwing a punch. We're up here, we're not going to have as much power, and we can have more inherent instability in the joint. Check this out. Now we're going to run through that warm-up for 2 sets where we have all 3 exercises. This second time as I'm going through on a plyometric push-up, I'm going to go flat on the ground. Now we're going to go through that entire warm-up 2 times. This next one, I would increase the weight directly on a bottoms-up press. And then on the plyometric push-up, I'm going to go flat on the ground. In part because it's 109 degrees in here. I've been waiting all day for a fan and it hasn't quite arrived. And frankly, my hands are getting sweaty and I don't want to switch off the bench. But you'll see the mechanics stay the same. I won't be quite as high up in the air and explosive as I was on the bench, but it's going to be a more advanced variation of an explosive plyometric push-up. All right, we are fully warmed up, body's good to go. The first major exercise we're going to do is something that I don't always do, but it's programming a barbell bench press first. So why are we doing a barbell bench press first? Well, because strength is the primary goal here. One of the big mistakes that people make with their programming is they jump around. They do too many exercises before and then they wonder why their bench sucks. You don't want that, right? So when we do it first, we want to load it. We want to pick exercises that require the most central nervous system demand and the most focus early on in that workout. And so what I'm doing is I'm following a progressive program similar to 5-3-1. If you're familiar with 5-3-1, you have a max weight, but then you use a sub-maximal percentage off of that. So in this case, my bench right now is around 345 pounds. I base all my numbers off of 305 to 315, meaning I should never miss a rep. And so what I'm going to be doing here, a set of 5, a set of 3, and then as many reps as I can at about 285 pounds after my ramp up sets. Now in regards to ramp up sets, what you're seeing right now is you see I have 3 focused work sets, 3 sets of 3 to 5. Bar, 135 times 8, 185, we'll do 5. So as you see, I'm gradually increasing the weight on each of these warm-up sets. This is how you ramp. For example, if I just went right through and did 225 on that first work set on the bench, probably wouldn't be so pretty. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gradually ramping up the weight, 135, 185, 205. Then by the time we hit that first work set at 225, I've maybe added 2 minutes, 3 minutes to what I'm doing, but my performance is gonna be so much better, and that's a great time to practice your technique. Remember, anytime you see 3, 2 sets, whatever it is, one of these lower volume looking training programs, understand there are ramp up sets that are involved to get to a resistance that's high enough for it to actually create a muscle building response. All right, second work set, 255, simple set of 3. This should be fairly easy, fairly straightforward. One thing I want you to notice is before I begin the press, I come here, out, and pause. A lot of people come directly out. You want to come out for half a second, give your body a second to settle, and then begin your press. Like this.
If you want to lose fat and build muscle, the number one thing you need to do, join our Look Great Naked protocol. Head to the link below, book your transformation call, and hit subscribe.
Barbell bench press is done. Now, the second exercise that we're going to focus on, the second main exercise here, is going to be the 60-degree incline dumbbell press. When we increase that angle to 60 degrees, a lot of the tension here becomes upper chest and shoulder. I don't do a ton of overhead pressing anymore due to some past neck injuries, and I know many other people who simply don't have the mobility to press overhead without compensating through their body. In that case, if you cannot press overhead with perfect technique, don't try to do a ton of heavy barbell and dumbbell presses directly overhead. You can get a ton of shoulder growth directly by focusing on higher incline angles, such as a 60-degree incline or even a 70-degree incline press. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep the weight a little bit lighter, and I'm going to gradually ramp up 4 sets of 8 to 10 on this incline press. Once I get to those final 1 to 2 sets, again, these should be near muscular failure. All right, let's check it out. A lot of guys have terrible shoulder mechanics. When they have poor mobility, they cannot press overhead safely without arching through the back or putting their shoulder in a compromising position. In that case, a better option is using a higher incline on the dumbbell press. Use an angle 60 to 75 degrees. It'll be a little bit of upper pec, but it's going to be plenty to hit your shoulders and cover that overhead press in the pattern. A lot of people lift weights, but they don't make any progress. Why? It's not because of the progression model, but it's because they're not paying attention to how they execute each and every single lift. A lot of people just rep through, trying to hit the number of reps. If you want to be able to maximize the muscle building potential of an exercise, you have to be able to focus on maximizing the contraction itself. So pay attention to the first 2 reps. Just going to rep through it. Then pay attention to the next few. you're gonna see the difference from controlling that eccentric 3 to 4 seconds, owning every inch of every rep, and that's what makes a difference for building muscle. Okay, now slower. Now, one of the important things I want you to note here, watch how controlled I am, particularly on the eccentric action or when I'm lowering the weight down. A lot of people wonder why they're not building muscle or getting stronger when they pay no attention to how they're actually lifting the weight. So I'm paying particular attention right now to lowering the weight in 3 to 4 seconds, being smooth and under control, so we can build up that eccentric tension directly in my shoulders and in my chest in order to maximize that muscle building response. All right, third exercise coming right up, the costal cable fly. This is also known as a high-low cable fly. You can do this motion as a press, as a fly, as a quasi-press fly, a combination of the two. Personally, I like to do more of a fly motion because I've already hit 2 different variations of the press. And personally, chest has always been something I have to work extra hard to build because my shoulders are a very dominant muscle group. So when we have this set up, we're gonna have a high hand position to start, and then we're going to be flying low, as you'll see directly in the video. And when we do this, what this is going to do, it's going to hit those costal fibers. More or less, it's going to really focus on those lower pectoral fibers. If we look directly at the workout so far, we've had a flat bench press, which hits things fairly evenly. It's going to be kind of mid and lower pec, and a lot of anterior shoulder and tricep. We've had the higher incline, which is going to be upper pec and a little bit more shoulder focused. Now, when we add in this fly motion, it's going to be much more of an isolation type exercise to really add some shape directly to your pecs. In an exercise like this, particularly anytime you're using cables, and especially using a fly type motion, the goal here is not to go as heavy as you can. It's to really focus in, make that mind muscle connection with your chest, and maximize the intensity of that muscular contraction. If you struggle to build any muscle, the harder you can make that muscle contract, the more effective it's going to become as a muscle building exercise. So notice my slow eccentric tempo when I'm doing the exercise, that would be coming back out, and how hard I'm focusing on squeezing in the middle of each and every single rep. We're gonna hit 4 sets of 12 reps with 45 to 60 seconds rest in between. Notice how hard I'm pausing here and squeezing that contraction. At this point, my chest has been crushed. So what are we doing next? We're doing a scapular plane lateral raise. A lot of people who do a lateral raise will come straight out to the side. The scapular plane comes out slightly to the front and also to the side. When we do this, we can get a much better contraction directly to that medial head of the delt. That's what gives your shoulders that round, capped look that really help you build that aesthetic looking physique. So when we're doing a scapular plane lateral raise, we're coming directly out, a little bit to the side, and controlling the eccentric every single inch of every rep. Once again, when we're starting to focus on exercises that are more isolation based, the focus is not on picking the heaviest weight possible. We're gonna be able to go up, control, and have mastery of rep execution every step of the way. On these exercises, I'll use anywhere from 15 to 25 pounds depending on how I'm feeling in that day. If I'm using 25, the last rep or two can get a little bit tough. And at that point, we don't want to go any heavier where we compromise technique and really minimize the muscle building possibility of the exercise. Right? Check it out. Final exercise of the day, the converging ring push-up. Now, a typical ring push-up, your hands would just stay in as you do the push-up. While converging, we are coming in and really focusing on getting that squeeze. It's important to notice a couple things. First, the rings add an additional element of instability. Because they can move on an individual point, the shoulders, chest, triceps, everything has to work that much harder to stabilize. And if you haven't done these before, what you're gonna wanna do is increase your body angle. As you see when I'm doing them, I'm incredibly flat to the ground because I'm used to doing the exercise. And that's an important note anytime you're doing a bodyweight exercise. So whether you're doing an inverted row, if you wanna make it harder, get your body more flat to the ground. If you wanna make it easier, just go more upright. If you want to make it tougher even yet, you can elevate your feet on a box or on a bench. But when I'm doing the converging ring push-up, my focus here is not on going fast. It's staying as tight as I can and pushing and squeezing. When my hands get to about 6 to 8 inches apart, I'm not trying to make them touch, but what I'm imagining is that my nipples are actually coming together and touching. Alright, there you have it. That is the entire push workout. It's important to understand that this is not the only time I'm hitting these muscle groups throughout the week. In fact, when I have that extra gap day that we've talked about, I'm going to be hitting things like dips, push-ups, pull-ups, so on and so forth. So every single muscle is getting hit at least twice per week with this current program. Now, if you want a step-by-step custom-built program for you, something that's going to help you look great naked without living in the gym, because maybe you're simply not getting the results that you should given the amount of time that you're spending in the gym, all you need to do, head to the link below where it says bachperformance.com/coaching. Fill out a short application. You and I will hop on a call. We'll talk about what you need to be doing specifically to look, feel, and perform your best. And as we like to say, look great naked without living in the gym. If you have questions, if you have comments, drop them below. That's how this video gets to help more people, and that's how I can help you specifically. Until next time, have a great day.
Did you find this helpful? If so, pound that like button and hit subscribe. Now, if you want a free copy of our Chiseled Muscle Cheat Sheet, the no BS way to help you lose body fat and build lean muscle in 90 days, make sure that you go to the description below and download your free copy. Any questions? Drop them in the comments, and can't wait to see you with the next video.